What is going on, my friends? SeanPierceJohnson here, kicking off 2018 here on my channel with a new and exciting piece of gear straight from the NAMM show in the form of the Reverend Guitars BC Terz Billy Corgan signature model. This thing is so cool. If you are like me and are a Smashing Pumpkins fan who may or may not have bought tickets to the Shiny and Oh So Bright tour, oh my god, I'm so excited. Bring it back to center here. Okay, it's time to demo the gear, Sean. Anyway, the Reverend Billy Corgan signature model has probably caught your eye, and when I saw this thing at the NAMM show, I was expecting something else. At face value, you'd kind of think, oh, it's a short scale, signature model, single pickup. Okay, cool. But it's an entirely different concept and one that I have found to be incredibly inspiring as I've gotten to know this guitar over the past couple weeks. Essentially, what Billy wanted from the cats at Reverend was a guitar that would have the same pitches as if he were taking one of his standard length guitars and capoing the 3rd fret. So essentially what we have here is a short scale guitar that's tuned up a minor 3rd from standard pitch. So instead of your low and high strings being an E, they are a G. And it's pretty cool. So let's check out the specs here on the BC Terz. We start out with the standard body shape of Billy Corgan's full-size signature model, which has a very cool, nifty, sort of Art Deco offset kind of vibe to it, which I really like. The body is Carina, and it's chambered in a couple spots underneath these brushed aluminum pick guards. So when you play this guitar acoustically, it's actually quite loud, so you could very easily take this guitar along with you, not plug into an amplifier, and still get a really good idea of what it is that you're playing. It's a very present guitar. The neck is roasted maple, and the scale of it is 21.5 inches, basically, so that you could put a set of 10 to 46 strings on it, and you'd have normal tension like you'd experience with a full-scale guitar, but of course, you're tuned low to high, up a minor 3rd from standard, being G. So that's pretty cool, and it feels great. There's not a whole lot of stickiness to the finish on the back of the neck. The contoured heel, it's not a heavy contour, but it's enough of a contour that you could get up all the way on the neck with the 22 frets and still be able to play fairly comfortably. You have 6 inline locking tuners, and the cool thing with Reverend is they have this nifty little triple tree string tree that also provides some tension down on the G string. That helps with a little bit of tuning stability, and I think it's just absolutely cool that you have locking tuners on a guitar like this. It makes string changes very, very easy. String through body, very simple. And of course, single pickup, and it's one of Billy Corgan's signature rail hammer pickups. And essentially you have a blade magnet underneath the bass strings and pull pieces under the treble strings. And essentially what you're getting there is a really nice tight bass response on the low end, but then when you go to the higher pitches, you get a nice fatness and warmth to them. But of course, that's not all this guitar has. It is stocked to the gills with cool electronics, and out of a single pickup guitar, you can get a lot of tones, and we will take a look at those in a little bit. You have master volume, master tone, and Reverend's very, very cool bass contour control. It's a passive EQ control, so you don't need to change out any batteries or anything like that. It's very, very simple. And to boot, the volume knob has a friggin' treble bleed mod already on it. So if you're playing around with your dirt tones and you want to roll back to clean up and you still want to be able to keep that jangle, you can achieve those things very, very easily. Other than that, it came in this really awesome hard shell case. I don't know if that's going to be available when you purchase it. It might be available separately, but it came to me in a case that looks absolutely awesome. So we've talked specs. I think it's time to quit yakking and get to some playing. We will start out with cleans, go to dirty, and of course, we will hear this monster with what I'm sure you all want to hear it with, the Op Amp Big Muff. So let's do it, people. Okay, the clean tone is dialed up on the rocker verb. We got the EQ controls in and around 1 o'clock on both the bass and the treble. And we're gonna start with all the knobs on the BC Terz turned up all the way. Full volume, full tone, and full up on the bass contour. That's a really nice, full, clean tone. But if you want to shave off a little bit of those lows, maybe make it a little bit more sparkly, just go ahead and start turning back the bass contour. And this position, which I usually kind of use the little Allen key on the knob to kind of gauge where I like things, I find that this position is really where I like it for the nice, big, strummed, clean tone. But we can go even further back, turn it all the way down, and we have our thinnest sound. Now, even at its thinnest, it's still a fairly full sound, but we're revoicing that pickup to get us a completely different tonality out of it, which I think when it's turned all the way down, you kind of have a little bit of a telly vibe going on with the pickup. So go ahead and slap your favorite compressor on there and you could pretty much chicken pick with this guitar. Which, not really my game, but I could still see you doing it. And even in the studio, that kind of thin sound as a layer underneath, maybe if you got some like big old bar chords going on and you just want something a little bit sparkly on the top end. That kind of overdubbed part can really make things stick out and really kind of flesh out an arrangement, which is very cool. But of course, that's not the only way that you can revoice the guitar. You, of course, have the tone control, which will turn the bass contour all the way back up so it's almost bypassed. Dial back the tone a little bit, warm it up. Even turn it back all the way. And it gets really muffly. You could even jazz with it if you wanted. Not like I would jazz with this guitar, but just to give you guys an example of what this thing can do. It's pretty powerful for a single pickup guitar. Now, the way that I kind of like it is I do like the bass contour turned back just a little bit. Let's say straight down is 6 o'clock, 5, 4, 3, 2 o'clock, and then straight down, and then I like to just to taste dial back the tone knob. So it's nice and warm, but it's still got a nice sparkle, but it's not pushing too much low end into the front end of the amplifier. And I kind of find that this is Billy Corgan clean tone area for me. All right, it's dirty channel time. We got the rock reverbs gain going about 1 o'clock on the dial. Bass and mids are going to be at 12 o'clock, and I've turned the treble just past 1. We're going to start with all knobs full up on the BC Terz, and this is what we get. This guitar is incredibly resonant. It sustains beautifully, and with all that gain, we still hear all the notes in all the chords. But with the bass contour, we can even get more clarity of tone in our sound. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna strum that open E, which will sound G, and I'm gonna slowly start shaving off that bass contour. And you can see what it does to the tone. You just get a little bit more clarity so that all the notes really ring true. And that bass contour comes in real handy when you start chugging away on some power chords. I'll show you what I mean. So with the bass contour, you can get that full voice pickup sound. And then say you want to layer so that you can really get some of that articulation out of whatever riff it is that you're playing. Use that bass contour. Get a little bit more attack out of it. Get a little bit more clarity. You can still keep the amp sound that you were already using, but you've revoiced the guitar so that it kind of changes the character of the tone. You get a little bit more attack, a little bit more clarity. It's a wonderful tool to have in the studio. In fact, I kind of wonder why Reverend isn't selling this as an aftermarket thing, because I would love to hear it in another guitar. But if it has to stay in a Reverend, I'm okay with that. This guitar plays phenomenally well. Now for me, the distortion sounds on this guitar are really where you can get a lot of magic out of these two controls, the tone knob and the bass contour knob. You can really get any kind of riff tone, any kind of solo tone, and one of my favorites for leads actually comes from turning the bass contour all the way down, turning the tone knob all the way down. Now essentially what we have going on there is we've got the bass contour slowly shaving off some of that low end. And we've got the tone knob coming in and slowly bringing back the high end. What that leaves us with is the mid-range. And it kind of works as sort of a variable bandpass filter thing going on right here. So you get kind of a faux cocked wah sound when you take a lead with some distortion. Which sounds very different than this. Two different solo tones. Awesome. And then if you want to warm it up just a little bit, roll back the tone knob, maybe shave off some of that low end just so things don't get too tubby. Unreal. So much fun. And the tension, it feels normal. It's not like other short scale guitars where things get real slinky so that it's harder to keep your bends in tune and really just any pitch that you play on it in general in tune. This guitar stays in tune phenomenally well. And then even on distortion tones, this is really where you can see how that treble bleed comes in handy. So let's just go full up on all the knobs again, and let's start cleaning up this tone so we get, sort of a cleanish sound. You got a little bit of grit on it. That's okay. I kind of like clean tones with a little bit of grit on it, something a little bit interesting. But we still maintain all that nice sparkle that we've worked so hard to achieve. And if you're using the bass contour, you can get a little bit more of that. It amazes me how versatile this guitar can be. It really does. But, so that's our normal cleans and our normal distortion. I kind of think you guys want to hear it with the op amp Big Muff, right? I thought so. Time to plug in the op amp Big Muff and let's just go all out smashing pumpkins on this thing. Have it, my friends. That is the Reverend Guitars BC Terz Billy Corgan signature model. You know, guys, it seems like the trend in guitars is more and more strings. 7, 8, 9 strings, lower pitches for bigger, heavier, chunkier riffs. And that's cool. I have a 7-string and I love it, and I've written tons of songs and adapted several of my band's songs to use the 7-string that were recorded on a 6-string. But I gotta say, the limited range of this guitar, it forces you into a new area that you really never thought that you would explore. The higher pitch doesn't sound like, a low B string, and you wouldn't think that you can get a whole lot out of it. But everything in this guitar, this little tiny package, it just proves to be an immensely useful instrument. you'd think out of a single pickup that you wouldn't be able to get warm, nice strum tones with a little bit of sparkle for open chords. You can very easily do that thanks to the bass contour and the tone knob. The fact that you got the treble bleed mod on the volume pot means that you can clean up nicely and get all kinds of nice dynamic sounds out of this guitar just on a crunch tone. It's pretty spectacular, and I don't know what kind of voodoo they're working at the factory in Korea that makes these guitars, and whatever the wizardry of their main tech at their shop in the States is doing, but this is probably one of the best feeling production guitars I've ever played. I have not played a guitar in several years that it was as easy to get along with this guitar as this one. A guitar should inspire you to create. It should inspire you to make music, and the BC Terz, it does it. And the fact that it comes from one of my favorite songwriters and favorite bands and greatest influences is just icing on the cake. But I want to know what you guys thought of the BC Terz. Would you be interested in checking one of these out and adding it to your arsenal? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to click that subscribe button when you see it, because the 5th season of Stompbox Saturday is coming up very soon. Thank you all for joining me here today. I hope you will all join me as we go through 2018 on this gear journey. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I wish you all great tone and happy stomping. Cheers, everybody.